Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, a man was reincarnated as Shin, a boy raised in the woods by his legendary magician grandfather. Shin then goes to a magic academy to learn about the world and see just how much more powerful he is than everyone else. There, a powerful demonoid named Strom would take over an empire and threaten to destroy the kingdom. This then forces the students at Shin's academy to train in case they are needed for the war, and Shin shows his immense power. The story continues as our group continues their joint training with the student knights, and they all finally demonstrate their ability to work as a team. Zeke is astonished by the improvements in Shin's classmates, and Shin explains that he has been teaching them in their study group. He has been teaching them to visualize magic in the same unique way he does. Zeke would like to learn what Shin is teaching the group as well, but Og points out how Zeke is in the military and militarizing Shin's magic could cause diplomatic issues. Og fears that if Shin's magic style were to spread, then the world would not be destroyed by the demons, but rather humans instead. Zeke wants to at least learn the basics that Merlin taught them, so Og tells him to simply practice increasing the amount of magic he can control day by day. Zeke can't believe that it's that simple, but Og shows him the powerful barriers the students can create. Maria points out how their barriers are still much weaker than Shin's, but Zeke is still very motivated and determined to practice like them. Their joint training session is now over, and one of the student knights thanks Shin for his assistance in defeating a demon bear, as she finally realizes the importance of knights collaborating with magicians. Shin wonders how the other groups are doing, and we see that it isn't going so well. Another group has a knight that insults the magicians for being weaklings, and jumps into a fight alone. More knights join in, but are soon in danger, so the magicians from Shin's study group step in to save them, using the power they learned from Shin. It's clear that the over-anxious knight hates being upstaged by Tony, and Tony explains how they used to be friends. Tony thinks for a bit about why that might be the case, and remembers that a girl once chose him over the knight. Elsewhere, another group of Shin's friends deal with more of the same, as student knights tell the magicians to stay back as they fight. Of course, the knights are instantly overwhelmed, and Shin's friends unleash powerful magic to save them. The entire training session is now over, as the last group explains to Shin that they went a bit overboard with their power. The others explain that their training session went the same way, and everyone has Shin to thank. Shin wonders to himself if he should really be thanked, and the others wonder why he looks so down. Og then reveals that it has been decided that everyone in the Ultimate Magic Study Group, except for Shin, will be placed under national supervision following graduation. After that, they will all likely be placed in a special unit under Og's control, but they will all still likely attract the attention of other lands. Shin apologizes for changing the course of their lives, but they all reveal how proud they actually are. In fact, they are all eager to learn even more from Shin, but Og warns Shin not to get any funny ideas about making them too strong. Days later, the group trains hard, and Og explains that they can never let anyone see how strong their group has become. Og then informs everyone of a state secret that reveals how demonoids are rampaging the towns and villages of the Empire. What's worse is that there are more and more demonoids every time they attack. It's clear that Strom is doing the same thing he did to Kurt to several other people. Shin wonders what Strom could possibly be thinking, as even just a single demonoid is enough of a threat to destroy an entire nation. Being shared this secret information makes everyone realize how special their group really is, and they decide to get more serious than ever about training. Shin then decides that conducting a training camp would be great for improving everyone's skills. Sicilian reveals that her family owns a hot springs resort, and everyone agrees to stay there during the camp. That night, Shin's caretakers agree to his training camp idea, but explain that they will be supervising them, as Melita points out how nothing good happens when she takes her eyes off Shin. The next day, the group heads to the resort, as it is explained that the horses have enchanted gear that will allow them to make the long journey. The students explain to Shin how enchanted items were normally only used in battle, but Melita was the first to focus on developing useful everyday enchanted items. During their journey, the group detects demons nearby, and draws straws to decide who gets to fight them. Lynn is the lucky winner and easily defeats the group of demons, but Shin still gives her some helpful tips on how to improve. Merlin and Melita watch nearby and are amazed at how everyone has improved. They finally arrive at the resort, and Cecilian's parents welcome the hero Shin, and ask that he take good care of their daughter. Inside, Merlin thanks everyone for hanging out with Shin, as he has never had any friends his age before. However, Og points out that no one has ever treated him as an equal before, but Shin does, and he truly considers him a friend. The others feel the same way, as they credit Shin with improving all their lives. Shin then takes this moment to thank Merlin for raising him, and helping him to become the person that he is today. Sometime later, we see that the camp is going well, as Merlin gives everyone tips on improving during his training session. Melita gives training of her own, and Shin explains that having them there is making the camp better than he could have ever hoped. Everyone is impressed during Shin's training session as the students easily cast spells without incantations. Shin still doubts that they are ready to take on demonoids though, and determines that everyone, including himself, must get stronger if they are going to stand up against the demonoid's overwhelming magical power. A while later, the group all shield themselves even though Shin tells them they don't need to, and we see it's because he wants to try something. Shin begins a spell as everyone braces for impact as they think it's a new spell. Shin explains that it isn't new and all he is doing is narrowing the explosive energy of an AoE spell into a single direction. Shin celebrates his successful spell and everyone is shocked to see that he has done it again. Melita is furious at his recklessness as Shin explains that not even he expected it to be that powerful. Ogden asks Shin to gate him back to the kingdom so that he can get updated information on the situation at the Empire. When they arrive, they are greeted by a girl named Ellie, and Shin is surprised to hear that she is Og's fiancée. Ellie is furious that Og left behind his little sister May, who is upset that he went to camp without her. May introduces herself to Shin and explains that she is a huge fan of the guru Melita. The two girls explain that they would like to come to camp, but Og refuses since the camp is serious and not a place for fun and games. However, the king instructs Og to take them so they can learn from Melita and Merlin, and he points out how taking Shin's gate will make it very safe. The four arrive soon after, but Og reminds the girls to not be too much of a bother. Ellie explains that she's really only there to keep pests away from Og, but Shin is surprised to hear that she is mostly jealous of how Og talks about Shin so much. Og points out how Shin already has a girl and tells Shin to finally make things clear with Sicilian. Shin explains that he isn't sure about how Sicilian feels though, but Og tells him that he needs to be more courageous. The new girls introduce themselves to Melita, and May can hardly contain her excitement as she holds her hand. The others have a good laugh at Shin's expense when Melita reminds him how he used to hold her hand. Sicilian doesn't laugh, explaining that their kids will be adorable, and she will happily hold their hands. She's embarrassed by her own statement, but this makes Shin finally realize she is interested in him, and Og can't believe it took that much for him to see it. Shin goes to meet with her soon after, and the two think about when they first met. They exchange compliments with one another, and Shin finally gains the courage to reveal that he loves Sicilian. She explains that she always thought that Shin was just being nice to her, but that she loves him as well. Their sweet moment is interrupted, however, when it becomes obvious that everyone had been eavesdropping on them. Shin reveals to everyone that the two are now dating, and Og reminds Shin that they are still in the middle of training camp. He doesn't want Shin to get distracted by his relationship, but Shin points out how Og was the one that pushed them to go forward with everything. The next day, Shin wants them to do some special training and reveals that they will be playing volleyball. The only rule is that magic can only be used on the ball itself. The game is made quite intense by the addition of magic, and Merlin gives them tips on how to train properly while playing. That night, the group discuss how Og met his fiancée, and Maria laments how she has yet to find a love of her own. They must all hide though as Melita approaches, but Shin is eventually found and scolded. The next morning, Shin tells Sicilian that they should get breakfast, but she reveals that she has a favor to ask first. They arrive at her home before her father heads off to work, and Shin realizes that she wants to announce the relationship to her parents. Inside, her parents are surprised to see that they left training to see them, and determine that what they want to say must be very important. They are then shocked to hear Shin ask for their approval. However, Shin is the one surprised when Sicilian's father leaps for joy as he is a big fan of Shin's. Sicilian's mother calms him down though and explains to Shin that a noble family like theirs requires that their daughter must be engaged to the person she is dating. Shin's stern look makes it clear that he is willing to do so, and he accepts the condition without hesitation. Back at training, Ellie is amazed at the extremely powerful magic being demonstrated, and surprised to hear that they are just warming up. Merlin asks if they would like to try, and May does, but Ellie reveals that she has no aptitude for magic. May then amazes Merlin with her magic power as she is so young, and inspires the others to work harder, but then goes a bit overboard. The others refuse to be upstaged by the young May as she hides behind Shin, and Og wonders why she didn't hide behind him, her older brother. At the Empire, Strom is informed that his army is successfully attacking caravans, causing cities throughout the Empire to suffer food shortages. As such, discontent is increasing day by day, so Strom decides it's finally time to move forward with his plan. Back at training, the group once again cower in fear behind their barriers as Shin continues trying new magic. The group doubles the barrier out of growing fear, but Shin convinces them that his next spell isn't even an attack spell. They are all then amazed when he uses magic to make a rock float, and absolutely floors them when he begins levitating himself. Applying a bit of wind magic allows him to fly around, and everyone hopes to one day learn it from him. That night, Shin reveals to Melita and Merlin that he and Sicilian are engaged. They assumed it would happen at some point, but now Melita wants to meet with Sicilian's parents. The matter is urgent as Merlin explains to them that Shin isn't really his grandson. They assumed that their approval of the engagement was due to the fact that Shin was blood related to Merlin, and wanted to make it clear that he is not. Sicilian's father expresses great disappointment, which everyone understands, but he surprises everyone by revealing that it isn't what they think. He explains that their decision had nothing to do with Shin's relation to Merlin, and everything to do with how Shin values Sicilian above all else. Shin vows to protect Sicilian with all his power, and her parents express their gratitude. A while later, Shin gives everyone upgraded uniforms with higher defense, and even temperature control. He explains that he hasn't given them rocket boots like he has though, since it's extremely difficult to control. They all presume that the uniforms with higher defense means that training will be exceptionally grueling from now on, and Shin confirms it by revealing that they will be doing combat training against a catastrophic class monster. Everyone is afraid, but Shin assures them that they are ready, especially with maxed out defensive gear. Mei is disappointed to see that they are going without her, but Og explains that it'll be too dangerous, and Shin gives her a magical communication device. The day's training begins as Sicilian detects the catastrophic class beast. Shin explains how lion demons have mightier power than the tiger demon, but move much slower, and he makes Sicilian explain that it means they should use long-range attacks. Shin then splits the group up, and they wonder why he is having their support magicians attack first. He expresses confidence in them, and they don't let him down when they combine their attacks to wipe the lion off the face of the earth. Shin points out how their support-focused team members were able to take down the catastrophic class together, but their attack group could probably do it individually. They continue training and prove Shin correct when they slay several beasts. Og points out how it's Shin's turn next, and the story moves to Shin and Sicilian's engagement party. The king is there to celebrate as well, and offers up a toast to the happy couple. Afterwards, Shin acknowledges that he is doing things backwards, but goes through with his plan anyway. He formally proposes to Sicilian, and the two finally have their tender moment. Thanks for watching part 3. 4,000 likes and I'll know you want part 4.